time is 2 p.m. and this is the Tuesday edition of Market View right here on Eswatini TV. I'm Nathalie, glad to have you on the program. 11 young entrepreneurs under Dream Home Investment Waste Management have received a 300,000 emalangeni grant to expand their waste collection services, which is a move expected to improve sanitation for about 3,000 households in Bolonjeni and Ngoyoyo and Mochane Nkundla, while creating sustainable youth employment. Chairperson of the initiative, Gcina Gama, will tell us more on this project. But first, let's fill you in on our business stories this afternoon. Moving on to our business update, countrywide anti-immigration protests led by the March and March movement are causing disruptions to business activities across South Africa. The protest action is expected to affect trade and the movement of goods, with the impact likely to be felt by neighboring countries, including Eswatini. Reports by France 24 indicate that businesses in several areas have experienced operational disruptions. Economist Anele Sibia says that although today is not a public holiday in South Africa, the protests are already disrupting normal business operations.
According to France 24, the protests in South Africa have disrupted business activity in major economic centers, particularly in the Johannesburg and Durban CBDs. Many foreign-owned businesses, along with some local retailers, shut their doors as employees and traders stayed away from work or left the affected areas over safety concerns. Economist Sanele Sibia details the local impact on businesses.
It presents an issue of an unofficial holiday in South Africa, and now that somehow is going to distort commerce, more especially in trading goods rather than services, because goods still have to move and they still need to cross the border into SA. So with that limited handling capacity in the Republic of South Africa, then we are going to see a bit of a slight alteration or slight changes in terms of the flow of commerce. But overall, what this speaks to for us is number one, there is a lot of structural factors that are coming into play and that need to be addressed in the Republic of South Africa, and they will actually have those spillover effects into the entire SADC region, and Eswatini will not be spared from those. So we do need to think around those. On the insurance side of things, I would actually be a bit worried about the consignment insurance going into South Africa on this day because of the uncertainty and the risk that is inherent in the unpredictable nature of humans who are conglomerating in one space. So there is quite a lot to navigate, more especially within the trade in goods space compared to the trade in services space, because we know that the trade in services space does work even without that physical human contact and that tracking into South Africa.
We also spoke to truck drivers traveling to South Africa at Ngwenya border. While they expressed concern about the ongoing protests, they said they remain hopeful that the heightened security measures put in place by the South African government will allow them to continue their journeys safely.
It's safe yemaphoyisa baqinisekisile lokuthi kutawuba khona konke lokuqinisekisa isafe kulabana abangekho kule mash and mash.
Sithemba ukuthi la endleleni asihamba khona indlela zokuphepha ziqiniseke kakhulu.
Nginguye lo mnye umshayeli weloli ngendi cross border ke kodwa ke kwamanje ngisakhona namle South Africa ngila eOshoek nje ngiyaphuma.
The president of the Business Federation of Eswatini, Thulisile Dladla, says many local businesses rely heavily on imports from South Africa, including raw materials used in production. She says some of their members have already reported delays in the delivery and collection of goods. She is appealing to both businesses and the public to remain patient as supply chains continue to experience disruptions.
We are depending heavily on free and predictable movement of goods through South Africa. Sisebenzisana kahle vena South Africa ukuthi tinto tethu letiningi sidithenga khona. I-traffic ayihambi kahle, ayikakhululeki kahle ukuthi mhlambe kungafika ngesikhathi, and we are anticipating ukuthi vele kutaba khona lama disruptions kuma deliveries etinto tethu lesititsingile through the border post because of le ndlela lokuhambeka ngayo. So siyacela nje ma-members ethu asibeketelele siyeva lokuthi labanye sebakhala ngawe ama-delayed deliveries, postponed collections ngoba it's not about laba thola through ama-trucks kuphela. Some ngama-curious nje la lokhanza ukuthi kunetinto loyotithenga awukhoni lokuthi wena utilayishe then i-curate bese yakudilivela ngakusasa. All those things vele kuhamba kancane or lokunye sekumile nje.
The Central Bank of Eswatini's recent economic development report for April and May this year highlights the country's strong trade ties with South Africa. The report indicates that as of May this year, South Africa accounted for 72% of Eswatini's exports and 70.8% of imports, underscoring the potential impacts that any disruption in South Africa could have on Eswatini's economy. Reporting, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ngwenya.
The Ministry of Finance is working on a series of bills and regulations aimed at strengthening the country's financial management systems and improving the way public resources are administered. The proposed changes include amendments to key legislation such as the Customs and Excise Act, the Eswatini Revenue Service Act, the Value-Added Tax Act, the Income Tax Act, the Fuel Levy Act, as well as the Members of Parliament and Designated Office Bearers Pension Fund Act. According to the ministry, these bills seek to enhance revenue collection, improve tax and customs administration, and ensure that the country's fiscal policies remain effective and responsive to economic needs. The ministry says strengthening these legal frameworks is important in supporting government's ability to fund public services, promote accountability, and maintain sound financial governance. And you're up to date with some of the latest in business. After the break, we speak to Dream Home Investment Waste Management, a beneficiary of the Eswatini Environment Fund. Stay tuned.
To all the viewers of Eswatini TV in the kingdom and beyond. Eswatini TV is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech, violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on this channel, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your matter to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Babani. Call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.za. For more information, visit www.esccom.org.za.
Welcome back. I'm moving on with the program. The Eswatini Environment Fund has awarded more than 2 million emalangeni to 8 businesses across the country's 4 regions to support environmental sustainability and green entrepreneurship. Among the beneficiaries is the Dream Home Investment Waste Management Project, which received 300,000 emalangeni to expand its operations in Bolonjeni and Goyoyo under Mochane in Kundla. And today we are joined by chairperson of the project, Gina Gama, who will share how this funding is transforming their waste management initiative, creating opportunities for their team of 11 members and making a positive impact in their communities. Mpokane nguvusele sikwamukele ehlelweni sibonga kakhulu isikhathi sakho. Kumbe nje ungasitshela kabanzi Dream Home Investment Waste Management ni bantu labasha 11 of you engabe yini leleyani khutsata ukuthi nisukume eniqale ibusiness especially nasibuka nje kule waste sector.
Ngiyelele nothile. Ngibingelele nembukele ekhaya njengoba soshilo nje ligama lami ngigcina wakagama lo ngichairperson wayo iproject yaka Tremom Investment. Umsebenzi ke leswendawo njengoba usho ukuthi singema members lang Tremom una 11 founding members. Yes, umsebenzi leswendawo ngolo ka waste collection. Khona enzaweni yaseMpolonjeni nasengoyoyo. Yes.
Yini badlele yanisukumisa nibamfu labasha ukuthi nitawusebentela kule sector le, because siyathi lokho ukuthi kune unemployment, yes, but often nabathola emathuba bamfu labasha or by means bayakhona ukuthi mhlawumbe uyothengisa loka la kuthengisa kwestradini wena chicken dust wena airtime, but here you are nibamfu labasha nisedolobheni, or some would say no, but still nisungula inkampani you are operating go waste collection. Engabe yini le tinkinga noma tingcinamba nentibonile kule hlangothi lelo that you felt nibamfu labasha mhlambe niletha sombululo?
Okay, lo kwasenda ukuthi sangena kulo mkhakha waka waste collection kwaba kubuka nje mangweni lesisuka kiwo. Asicalanga ke savele sasifuna kwenda waste collection eqinisweni lonke. Saqala nje sazama safuna kwenda bo farming nako konke, but due to ukuthi tinkinga tabo funding tinzaba tabo funding kulukhuni kakhulu necela umsebenzi nje maningenayo capital. Sase sesiza sesibuke ke sibe practical kenyana ukuthi yini lesingakhona kuyenda lengeke izithinge imali lesingakhona kucala ngayo. Sase siyabuka ukuthi nasemangweni wakisi ngicaba wasemangweni wakisi nje na 7 lonke inzaba yetibi icishe ingisandane ezwe lokhona even lekukhalwa ngayo imihla nemalanga. Sabuze enathi inzaba lesihluphako nasemphakathini noma kunemihlangano kuyakhulunywa ngayo kakhulu inzaba yetibi. Ngoba mawungathi uyabuka nje ama drainage wakhanza sagcwele tibi emifuleni emahlathini kugcwele tibi. So sasiyabuza hayi man masingazama ngoba mabuka nje ngoba usho nje sinzaka yaseMpolonjeni siyicishe idolobha noma isedolobheni mawuyibuka kodwa ke still outside of iboundary yamasipala lokusho ukuthi kude lama services ekubutha tibi. Sasizo masingangena lamakhaya sicele lokubathathela le tibi lokho ngeke kuze kusidinge icapital lenkulu lokucala lokho. Sasiyaqala ke singene emakhaya bayithokodela ke bantu kakhulu leyo initiative lesitenayo. Namhla ke sesilaso lo siyaqhubeka siyaba sithi abantu ngeke bathathela deep dapho siyodispose kamasipala.
Njengebamfu labasha siyanibongela kakhulu noma ke mina ngisho njalo lokuthi ngiyanibongela. Vele isikhathi esiningi khanza ukuthi bakhala ngale capital. Kepha ke naku manje Eswatini Environment Fund so nichasile ngalo 300,000 emalangeni. Engabe le service yenu utawusebenta kanjani going forward kule mimango lenisebentela kuyo?
Ngithathe leli thuba futhi ngibonge kakhulu ku Environmental Fund ngalolu sithu lasinikete lona. Yona ibukeka imali le ngasiyo leningi kakhulu kodwa kithi masibuka la sichamuka khona itawusisita kakhulu itawuhamba enzimali enkulu kakhulu. Kwathi sekuthi kuma operations ethu nje besisebenzisa lokucasha kakhulu besisebenzisa lokucasha lo bekusidulela naloko ukuthi imoto lecashwa konje awubi 100% sure ukuthi ngalesikhathi lo tazuyithinga ngaso ikhona ngaso noma ifile kwende ngalesikhathi sebakutshela kusekuseni imoto ngathi ayilungi. So lokho bekusi affecta kakhulu ngoba mawuse kumuntu nje ngidakuthathela ngidastula nzatibi ngasikhathi bani niboti keeper ngaleso sikhathi leso lo muntu uthi mase ni delay nini noma ningasachamuki seniluza nale trust la kuma clients end. So sasisa decide ukuthi so sasithi kwase saba nenhlanhla ke sise kulo umshikashika wethu sabona i-post iphumile ukuthi singa applyela for environmental funding. Sasiya applya ke nenhlanhla lenhle saphumelela nasabang one of lo 8 wema projects laphumelele kulomnyaka wa 2026-2027. So siyabonga kakhulu nje kuloko ukuthi siyathi lo sinyalo sisitakala kakhulu lokusho ukuthi nala ku expanda nje ama operations zethu sesitawu khona lo semhlawumbe sisebenze noma kabili ngeliviki noma kathathu because nyalo besithatha once ngeweekend ngeSaturday sithatha kanye ngeSaturday. So from now going forward ngicabanga sesekutawenda nale lo sesikhona kuba flexible sikhona kushintsha isikhathi noma mhlawumbe emalanga mangabe kukhona labafuna ukuthathelwa ngalamanye emalanga sekungasebenzela kakhulu kanjalo. Lokunye ke la itasita khona ukuthi kule project yethu besifise kakhulu ukuthi si expandele nakubo recycling. bekulukhunyana ke lokhu utawucasha imoto yekubutha uphindze ucasha imoto letawuthatha leti sothi separate liyotibeka center lapho sitabe sitibeka khona so ngicabanga mase sinale yethu imoto sekutawenda silo msebenzi wethu ubelula kakhulu lokuthatha leti biki ukuthi like must separator ngicabanga sineke kusebenza kwethu nje in terms of ama operations mhlambe leti recycle sheka sitathatha ngalelinye ilanga and then lesiyoti dispose asithathe ngalelinye ilanga nathi sengisho ukuthi le flexibility seyingacishe ibe khona akusafana nalesikhathi uqasha imoto ngoba nje ingcina namba lenye lenkulu kakhulu lebesibhekene nayo ukuthi incumbi yalama loli lawa lamancane lawo lebesivamise kwacasha aya for hire. So midweek nje uyathi kusa Watford mkhathini welivika Watford lawo maloli lawo nanga wona lama Saturdays nema Sundays kulukhunyana lokusunga Watford so besinayo inhlanhla ke khona lebesisebenzisa noma lo besisebenzisana naye but makwendeke liyaba nenkinga so uba nebulukhuni ukuthola lenye imoto ekusebenza ngoba imoto nje lamalo labo vela kubo build kubo cash build lapho afo hire khona.
Ngiyakuva Mpokani lempemvulo yakho ungitshela ukuthi Eswatini Environment Fund so nendele timvota balula. Before sicale ukukhuluma uvetile ukuthi Dream Home has been operating for at least isikhathi lesingangeminyaka. With the funding in place now sikhuluma ukuthi nitsinge ilori yekukoleka tona letibila emangweni. At the same time kunalama climate issues la sakhona. At the same time tindleko nje tekuchuba ibusiness tiya ngekukhula sikhuluma ngabona petrol sikhuluma nje nge-maintenance nale profitability cela nje usitshele kabanti ngale business model yakhe Dream Home kuthi engabe nitawukhona yini vele noma tithinta inhlelo tento ucinisekisa ukuthi you are scaling but at the same time vele niyayakha lenzuzo lebenhlose kuyakha from the get go.
Ngicabanga ukuthi kuloko njengoba bengishilo nje ukuthi mase sinale moto sekutawubalula ngoba le moto kwayona bethathe imali eningi so kwenda ukuthi kube lukhuni loku scale ibusiness mangabe nje uyathi ukuthi every week mawubutha uyathi ukuthi imali iyaphuma kanzi mawetha ngicabanga mawubuka so ucathanisa imali ekwetha imoto nemali ecasha ayisafanani leyo mali leyo bese ke going forward ngicabanga ukuthi masiyibuka thina le business inawo amathuba kakhulu ngoba nje lo mkhakha we waste wona wodvana dinenge leti ngoni lo ngadenda so ungenile kuwe waste singa rely nje la kusene sitawubutha kuphela kodwa ngicabanga sikuchubekela nje embili sibe expand sathi njengoba ngishilo ukuthi sitawende i-recycling nayo ineti indlela letihlukene noma inemkhakha lehlukene kukhona i-dry waste ikhona i-wet waste noma mhlawumbe i-biodegradable waste nayo longakhona ukuthi ungayi-recyclisha mhlawumbe kukhona nje ungayisebenzisa lapho wakhe bo biogas longapheka ngayo emakhaya longaphenze nayo kulenye business leli ngaphenze livuleke mhlawumbe kukhona lolunye ke lolukhona lwabo black soldier fly farming nayo ungalikhona nalo kulenda ngayona le waste lesithola kula makhaya
ngavishane nje gcina sesephetha angathini emagama akho to especially bantfu labasha bahleli ekhaya usacabanga ukuthi ngingasungula ini noma ngingahlanganisa ini given le experience lakho losonayo ku le waste sector yini nje longakusho kuba mema ukuthi akungabi phela ngumkhakha lebawubukela phansi ukuthi dibi kanti phela kulamalanga kunalesisho lokuthi we can turn trash into cash.
Kungaba kubakhusata nje abantu abasha ukuthi basukume kube khona lokho lebakwendako ngicela lokusho ukuthi nga 2024 2025 nathi sasingakaqala ukusebenza sa apply ke yona le environmental funding sangaphumelela but asiphela ngemandla bese ngakaqala ke nalokusebenza lapho kwathi emva kwaloko sacubeka sasebenza ngicabanga silokunye lokubendele nawo umsebenzi ukuthi ube lula kuthi le track record seyikhona kuyabonakala usicala kancane kuloko lokhona kwenda cala ungene ukwende lokho lokhona kwenda kuyayingenisa imali ku waste ke ngicabanga ukuthi bantu labasha sebayangena ngoba noma uthi uyafika kuma landfill uyabakhanza labanye bakhona bayocuca ikotela noma emabhodlela lokusho sibayabona lokuthi ungumkhakha nawo lo ungacishe uyingenise inzuzo noma lo ingenisako inzuzo nakubantu labasha nje ngicabanga ukuthi kungaba ngiloko kakhulu ukuthi sukuma ucale ngaloko lokuncane uqathi futhi ngicabanga ukuthi kukhula ke sekukhanza sosendleleni.
Sibonga kakhulu Mbokane loyo ngalimuhle ngugcina Dladla noma ke gama licolo lo ngusihlalo enkampanini Dream Home Investment Waste Management leyisekelwe ke yi-Eswatini Environment Fund ngemali elinganisela ku 300,000 emalangeni. Uyakhuthaza ukuthi abantu labasha basukume start where they can with exactly what they have. The waste sector is also just rather a sector that you might want to look into. This is Market View lihlelo yaqhubeka right after this.
Those that are in pain must forget all the problems they have. Because the things of the earth have got no answer. But the answer that we have is all morning. When I'm preaching here, I'm preaching to myself. I receive the Holy Spirit.
I declare that a turnaround is coming my way.
Turnaround is coming in my life.
Welcome back and moving on to our market analysis segment. In-house economist analyst Sibia is on standby for us virtually. Mr. Sibia, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Second trading day for the week. What is shaping markets this afternoon?
Thank you, Notsile. Good afternoon to you and also good afternoon to the viewer. So in terms of the markets, what we are seeing is, all eyes are on Doha, right there in Qatar. We were watching for signs of talks between the US and Iran. But what we saw happening yesterday was, that agreement between the US and Iran to stop those attacks on each other, because we've been seeing over the weekend those sporadic strikes coming through between the US and Iran. But I mean, we've gotten confirmation that those have since come to a halt. So in markets, we're seeing that optimism driving the US markets. We're seeing the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 306 points in today's trade. The Nasdaq Composite Index is up 522 points in today's trade, and the S&P 500 is up 86 points in today's trade. Now, that is on the background of those news, but we also do understand that there are fears around those AI, that AI overcapitalization leading the markets, but overall markets remain quite driven, and particularly by those AI stocks, because we do understand that in the early stages of an investment, such costs are usually required. And then coming into the UK, the FTSE 100 is up 107 points in today's trade. The DAX in Frankfurt is up 322 points, and the CAC 40 in France is up 47 points. So now we're seeing in the UK, the FTSE 100 climbing back up above the 10,500 mark. Remember, before the war started, we were at the 10,800 mark. So as we are seeing these cooling off in hostilities, and as we are watching for more news to come out in terms of that ceasefire and a long-lasting peace deal, we're seeing the UK going back up again to those regions, and that's also being buoyed by the fact that we have seen quite beautiful growth numbers coming out of the US, of the UK markets. And then Germany, we're seeing the manufacturing hub trying to gain back that 25,000 mark as well, also given by the fact that we are seeing the price of Brent crude oil and the cost of energy overall coming down to sustainable levels. Same thing in France. We are playing around record levels, purely given the fact that we are seeing a regression in these hostilities. And then the defense spending within Europe continues to drive markets. And then in Asia, the Nikkei is up 592 points, while the Hang Seng is down 145 points, and the Shanghai Composite Index is up 20.5 points. So what we are seeing, interestingly, there is in Hong Kong, we've seen the likes of Alibaba taking a bit of a knock, even though overall the market in terms of the tech space seems to be doing well, but we're seeing the giants are really just pulling down on the indices there. And then also we do know that we've seen a bit of lackluster retail data coming out of the very region, and we're waiting to see what the government will do in terms of those stimulus packages, both within Hong Kong and the mainland China. So that's what we're watching to see. While the Nikkei is climbing back up to those 72,000 marks, while we're watching to see if we are getting a resolution of the conflicts. South Africa, June 30 is down 16.44 points. So we're seeing the performance of the miners and the overall, markets waiting to see what will come, what will happen in terms of the Mabahambe type of mode, because we know that is somehow paralytic to the entire economy, because it has the potential to spiral into something that is not quite beautiful. And then in terms of Eswatini, the Eswatini Stock Exchange remains at the very same 105.25 points in overall trade today, and gold is up 2 points, sitting at $4,040 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is sitting at 73.94 per barrel, given the fact that we are watching and seeing, Iran somehow denying the fact that we have those peace talks ongoing. Overall, the Langeni has strengthened back to the 16.37 against the dollar, strengthened again to the 18.64 level against the euro, and strengthening to the 9.92 level against the Japanese yen because of that seesaw that we are seeing between the US and Iran. Thank you, Nozila.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bia. That was in-house economist Anela Sibia coming through with market insights. Otherwise, we'll leave it here for today's edition of Market View. Until next time, take care.